The Atlanta Braves hit rock bottom in their loss to the Blue Jays yesterday. What are they going to do about it? Yes, welcome on in to Braves Today for Thursday, April 17th. Your source of news, notes, and updates on your Atlanta Braves. I'm your host, Lindsay Crosby. You can follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. You can follow the show on @Braves_today. We have a Facebook page and an Instagram as well. And you can find all of my written work, bravestoday.com. That's the Braves Today Substack, as this is both a podcast and a newsletter. Spencer Strider made his return yesterday. I have a little bit about that in the third segment, but most of this show is just discussing that terrible, pathetic performance that we saw offensively yesterday. The Braves lose 3-1, and it's not the fact they lost 3-1. It's the way that they lose. Atlanta struck out 19 times. It tied the franchise record for strikeouts in a 9-inning game that they set back in 1901. The Blue Jays did set a franchise record for the most strikeouts in a 9-inning game. And this is rock bottom. The Atlanta Braves offense has hit rock bottom. Your top hitters on the team, or the top of your lineup, I'm sorry. Michael Harris leading off, 0 for 4, 4 punch-outs. Austin Riley, 0 for 4, 4 punch-outs. Matt Olson, 1 for 4, 3 strikeouts. Your top 3 hitters combined to go 1 for 12 with 11 strikeouts. The Braves had only 5 hits in this one. They walked 3 times. 3 of those hits come from the bottom 2 guys in the order. Eli White goes 2 for 3 with a walk. Orlando Arcia goes 1 for 3. You had the Olson hit, and then Drake Baldwin hits a 9th-inning home run. His first homer of the season, by the way, after going 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts in his first 3 at-bats. So Atlanta ends up 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They strand 7 on base. And again, tie the franchise record for most strikeouts in a 9-inning game. I'm frustrated for a couple of reasons. Obviously, that's not good enough, right? It's not. And we're going to get to more of that. This was a winnable series. You won game 1. And then for games 2 and 3, you had Spencer Schwellenbach, who has been your best pitcher to date. And you had the returning Spencer Strider, who is a little bit different from who he was in 2023, but not much. A little bit here. And you lose both those games to win the series. You still have not won consecutive games on the year. And I know we talked about how you were in a hole after the 0-7 start. If you take out the 0-7 start, Atlanta is still under 500. The hardest part about this for me is the offensive stats are not good. And they don't know why. Talking to, when the traveling media went to the clubhouse and spoke to them after the game yesterday, these quotes are going to irritate you because they don't know what's going on. They don't know why, and they don't know how to fix it. Here's Matt Olson, for instance. Matt Olson acknowledged that, obviously, them tying history was bad. Quote, yeah, you don't want to be a part of that. We're going to be able to flush it as best as we can. But like I said, it can't happen. We got to play better. There's no secret to that. Sure, we've got a lot of games left, but we can't do this crap forever. We got to find a way to start playing better baseball all the way around. Matt Olson cursed in there. And Matt Olson doesn't curse in front of the media a lot. If you've been on the field for infield drills, he curses a lot during infield drills. He doesn't curse in front of the media. He was clearly, he didn't raise his voice, but he was clearly angry. And when they asked him what needed to change or improve, quote, "Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. We can't play games like that. It's terrible. Just nothing all day." What was it? 19, 20 strikeouts? Can't happen. I know Bassett better than anybody. To explain that, Matt Olson played for the Athletics with Chris Bassett. Quote, "He's a good pitcher, but we can't do that and expect to win. Strider came out and threw well and got nothing, so we got to be better." And yes, you have to be better. At this point, we all know that. Explain what's going on. Explain why. And nobody's really been able to do that so far. I mean, it's very clear when you watch these games what is happening for the Atlanta Braves. Offensively, they are swinging at balls out of the zone. They are also behind fastballs in the zone. And it feels like you can't be aggressive out of the zone and cautious in the zone. That's a little behind of how you want to do it, a little backwards of how you want to do it. And some of this is worse for specific players. Michael Harris cannot be your leadoff hitter anymore. Michael Harris needs to bat at the bottom of the order. At this point, it's clearly mental with him. But yesterday, 0 for 4, 4 strikeouts. He is chasing 44% of the time, which I don't have to tell you is terrible. So his chase, he was never great on chase. MLB average on chase rate is like 28, 29%. He's always hovered between 38 and 39%. So that's gone up to 44%. Obviously not the right direction. But also, his contact rate when he chases has gotten worse. In 23 and 24, 64% contact out of the zone, 62% contact out of the zone. This year, 55. He's seeing slightly more pitches on the edge of the zone. Not a lot. It went from like 44.5% to 46%. But he's chasing a lot more. He is pulling the trigger more on pitches down the middle of the plate. He went from 73% to 70, rounded up to 78%, and that's what I asked for. But he's also seeing significantly less of those, like half as many as he used to see. So his whiff rate's not significantly worse. It feels like pitches in the zone, he's doing okay. But why would you throw Michael Harris pitches in the zone right now? Why? You wouldn't. There's no reason to throw Michael Harris a pitch in the zone right now. And it's frustrating that's where we are. His walk rate, 4.1%. 4.1%. 13th percentile. And this is who we've been using as a leadoff hitter right now. I understand they've put Ozzie up there against lefties. At this point, put Ozzie up there against righties. Heck, put Eli White up there. At least the dude has the speed where he might be able to like surprise people with a bunt and get on, or a slash or something. But at this point, Michael Harris cannot be your leadoff hitter anymore. He just can't. You're setting this entire lineup up for failure. Because I understand the idea of when he gets on, he can take extra bases on a base hit, he can steal, and all of that. But he's not getting on. He literally has a first percentile chase rate. He has a 13th percentile walk rate. He's not getting on base. He's batting 179. Even the expected batting average is only 228. He's not getting on base. You can't bat him leadoff. This is, again, where the Jurickson Profar thing really hurts you. Because until Ronald comes back, you don't have a leadoff hitter. And the thought was, we're not going to have Acuna to start the year, but Profar can be a leadoff hitter. And now you're having to scramble midseason. But Michael Harris is not it. He can't be that guy. In just a minute, let's talk about some of the other comments. Brian Snitker's comments are a little bit frustrating. We'll get to those and some more things that have to change. We'll do that next, right here on Braves Today. Welcome back to Braves Today. Lindsay Crosby talking about just that pathetic and embarrassing loss to the Blue Jays yesterday. And some of the comments from Brian Snitker. If you are thinking he is the problem, these are not going to help things. So when they were answering the questions about what needs to change or improve, Snitker said, quote, "I think individually we all have to make adjustments. I don't know. We're not going to replace them. There's nobody to go out and get. Internally, we're going to have to do it, and we're going to have to make it happen. Like I say, we're better than that, obviously, but we're not until we are, if that makes any sense." And what Snit's saying here is the team we have is the team we have. We can't replace anybody off the roster because there's nobody better to go get right now. And so we are better than this, but we have to show that we're better than this, is what he's saying. And I agree that it is exceptionally hard to go out and get somebody right now. Something that I've noticed is whenever I talk about, say, an issue with the bullpen or an issue with the lineup, some of the comments, social media, on YouTube, whatever, talk about we should have done more in the offseason, right? We should have done more in free agency. We should have explored a trade or whatever. And you're probably right. But at this point, there's no point in going back and relitigating all of that. Snit is correct. The guys there got to do it. Internally, they're going to have to fix it, right? The guys on the roster, the guys in the organization are going to have to fix it. There's a little bit of stuff you can do, right? You can call up Alex Verdugo. Again, I expect that to happen probably this weekend. And Jared Kelenic or Brian De La Cruz are probably the ones that go, or one of the two that go down. I'm going to guess Kelenic is probably replaced by Verdugo because they're very similar players. Again, you might DFA Stuart Fairchild, and then you pop somebody else when Ronald's ready to come back. There are small moves here or there. Is it possible that they look at something with Michael Harris if he continues to struggle this badly? Maybe. I don't expect him to. But even then, you're not going to move on from Matt Olson. You're not going to send down Austin Riley. Austin Riley's been good outside of this game, right? Like after this disaster of a game, he's still batting .284 with an .862 OPS. Austin Riley's not the problem. Matt Olson's been hitting the ball well outside of this game. Tons of hard hit balls, and he's had, people hate to hear this, he's had some bad luck on this. But when you look at what they're saying about this, it's clear that everybody's in the dark right now. Somebody asked Snit yesterday if he had any explanation for why there's so much swing and miss and strikeouts. Quote, "I have no idea. I don't know. There was a lot of it. I know that. I don't have an answer for it." And credit to friend of the show, Justin Toscano. He wrote the Gamer from Toronto. Not everybody wrote a Gamer, right? Mark Bowman wrote about Strider, and that was really it. David O'Brien, I don't think, wrote anything at all from that game. And Toscano, I want to read this one paragraph verbatim. Please go subscribe to the AJC. They have a baseball season pass, I think. It's a great deal. But here, he relayed that quote from Snit. The "I have no idea, I don't know. I don't have an answer for it." And here's what Justin wrote about that. At this point, what is he supposed to say? A modern day manager's job, in addition to the baseball duties, is to act as a spokesperson for the team. But Snitker isn't coaching the hitters or taking the at-bats. Truth is, while everyone is accountable for the team's results, the Braves have talented players who aren't performing to the best of their abilities. I think two things, I just caught myself before I said it. I think two things can be true at once. The players are ultimately responsible for this. Snit's not taking the at-bats. Snit's not telling them when to swing and when not to swing, right? At the major league level, we're not giving Matt Olson signs from the dugout on when to swing and when to take. But also, I think we're at the point where I don't know is not good enough. Snit, and Snit's character, he's not going to throw a guy under the bus. He's not going to yell and rant about the team. But we're at the point, and I think I can speak for a lot of fans who are probably way past where I am on this. I don't know is not good enough. Give us something concrete. I think the best way to answer that would have said, everybody is struggling right now. We're trying to fix it. Here is what we did with Michael Harris, or here is what we did with Austin Riley, or here is what we did, and you name a guy, and you give a few concrete examples of things that you did to try to make it better. That at least shows us that, yes, we're aware it's bad, but we're actively trying to fix it. And let's be clear, I'm sure they're actively trying to fix this. But just coming out and saying, I don't know, is not good enough. Give us more. Don't just tell us you don't know. Show us that you do know that it's bad and that you're working to fix it. I don't think I'm asking for much. I'm not asking Snit to sit there for 15 minutes and break down every single hitter and know their whiff rates and know their chase rates and all of that. Give us a concrete example of something you guys... Austin Riley would have been a great candidate for this because he started off slow and now he's batting .284, and you can say, yeah, Austin was struggling to start the year. We did this and this. These are the conversations we had with him, and he got on a heater. Like, that's the perfect way to respond to that. But just saying, I don't know, is not good enough anymore. Because we know that you don't know. And there's a subset of the fan base who, I will remind you, that is where the money comes from. Baseball revenue. Remember that show we did? Baseball revenue is the biggest part of the Braves' financials. The biggest part of the revenue coming in is baseball income. And there is a subset that does not want to spend money to come to games right now while this team is so bad. You gotta fix it. It's getting to the point where it's going to be an existential threat to the competitiveness of the team from a business perspective. I'm not saying fans are going to stop watching. I'm not saying people aren't going to come to the ballpark. But I'm saying it's going to tick down. We already saw it. Last year, the team was not as good as 23, and attendance was down. Now, they happened to make more money despite attendance being down because of selling more premium spaces. A couple of people reached out to me after I did that show and said their season tickets went up from 23 to 24. So the bottom line wasn't impacted by the attendance drop. But if it happens again, it's going to be. This is becoming an existential threat for the Atlanta Braves, and they've got to figure it out. And you've got to tell us that you are actively working to figure it out, instead of just telling us you don't know what's wrong and you don't know what to do. Because that is not instilling confidence in anybody. In just a second, let's talk about Spencer Strider's return, because some interesting stuff here, good, bad. We'll break all that down next, right here on Braves Today. Final segment of Braves Today, Lindsay Crosby talking about that disaster of a game yesterday. And something that wasn't a disaster but didn't go well late. Spencer Strider's return. 5+ innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk to 5 strikeouts. And this line looked a lot better before you got to the 6th inning. Strider was entering the 6th inning, sitting on, I believe it was about 85 pitches. And you'll remember last week in Gwinnett, his cap was 90. So he did about 85 pitches, And he had allowed 4 hits, 1 run, no walks to 5 strikeouts. You felt good. Open the 6th inning. Vlad Guerrero works a 7-pitch at bat, hits a home run on a down and in slider. It was still in the zone, but it was inner third and bottom third. So down and in slider for a homer. And then right behind him, Anthony Santander, 5-pitch walk. They go ahead at that point and they pulled Strider from the game. Dylan Lee came in. None of those runners happened to... Santander did not score. So only 2 runs on Strider. And ultimately not a bad outing, right? The numbers are not bad. 5+ innings pitched, 2 runs. You'll take that. That's not bad. Yes, it is a short outing. We've talked about that being a problem before. But in this situation, his first time back out, it's fine. You can live with that. I do question the wisdom of sending him back out for the 6th, given where you were in the lineup. He had gotten Bo Bichette to pop out to end the 5th. I understand his pitch count was okay. I understand he probably felt good and wanted to go back out. I do think that, and it's very easy in retrospect to say you shouldn't have sent him. It is a defensible decision to send him back out. It honestly is. Send him out, tell him, hey, we're going to go batter by batter because your pitch count's getting up there. We're going to go batter by batter. We're going to see how you do. It's defensible to send him out there. But in retrospect, you wish they had just pulled him after 5 and said, we're going to go to the pen. I understand why they couldn't. They used a lot of relievers on Tuesday, and they were trying to, because they had to cover 4 innings, and they were trying to get a little bit more out of him because, again, he felt good. The pitch count was okay. It wasn't great, but it was okay. I get it. When you look at the StatCast breakdown and some of the stuff, there's some interesting trends for Strider when it comes to velocities and things like that. First pitch of the game, 96.7. He pops quite a few 97s in that first inning, right? He hits 97.9 was his high as a foul ball by Vlad Guerrero. He hits 2 97.5s back to Santander. Ends up ending that at bat with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. He hits 97.1 to Bichette with the second pitch of the game. After that, I think his high after that was a 96 in the second inning. And he was throwing a lot of 95s in the second inning, and it started to tail off into 90. The third inning was a lot of high 94s. He did get a couple 95s in there. Just, he wasn't holding the velo as deep. His final fastball of the game was 93. Found that, we talked yesterday about the velo for Strider. What was he going to throw? It still feels like this is 85 or 90% Spencer Strider. This isn't 100% Spencer Strider, where he's going to be able to average 97 and he can pop a 100 if he needs to. It feels like this is we're going to average 95 and we can pop a 97 or maybe a 98 early if we need to. Feels like that's where Spencer Strider is right now. Now, despite that, he picks up 5 whiffs and 9 called strikes on the fastball, another 7 whiffs on the slider. And I did notice a little bit of things different on some of the pitch movements. And I'm going to have a longer version of this on the newsletter, bravestoday.com. Go check it out. But it looks like his arm angle dropped a little bit. And he was throwing the fastball up in the zone a lot. Last year, he really threw it down and away to righties. So that was a little bit of a change there. The vertical break came up averaging 18 and a max of 22. I think it was fine. The changeup, though, the changeup had more drop. So I thought that was interesting. He added drop on his changeup. That may be why he threw the changeup more than the curveball. I talked about this yesterday. About in AAA, he was throwing the changeup more because he thought he had maxed out and I was surprised because he had said he had maxed out what the changeup can do. Changeup, same velocity, but dropped a little bit more. Like 5 inches more than it had before. The slider has more glove side movement, so more sweep to it. So I really think those are both positive changes. Now, I do think some of that is due to a lower arm angle. It looked like his grip is the same. It looked like, obviously, his mechanics are the exact same, just about. But it looks like mechanics are the same other than the arm slot dropping a little bit. And dropping the arm slot would explain getting more sweep on the slider and more drop on the changeup. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing that the slot dropped a little bit. It's still not like he's throwing sidearm or anything, or submarine or whatever. But yeah, I don't think it's bad that the slot dropped a little. And as long as, if he can get the fastball velocity back, I think that could possibly offset a little bit of the vertical break changes you see when a slot drops. If he can get that extra tick or two of fastball velocity back. If he doesn't get that fastball velocity back for a while, I do wonder if he needs to change the pitch mix and not throw 60% fastball. He threw more fastballs yesterday, than he had in Gwinnett and than he did in 23, despite the fastball not being as good from a movement perspective and a velocity perspective. So I want to see what he does with that. I want to see how that changes. But outside of that, I thought the stuff for the most part, like, again, I like the slider changes. I like the changeup changes. And I felt like the slider was as good as we've seen it with those changes. So I'm okay with this 85-90% version of Spencer Strider. Obviously, I want him to be 100%, but I think this is good enough. And I think you have a top three where the potential for them, and Sales, Schwellenbach, and Strider, the potential for them is to be one of the best, if not the best trios in all of baseball. But Sales not there yet this year, where he was last year, and Strider's not yet there, and we just saw Schwellenbach stumble. So let's see what happens going forward. Off day today. You guys enjoyed this. We'll be back tomorrow to break down some of this Twins series, what to expect. They're really banged up. They've also struggled a lot this year. It's an opportunity for Atlanta to hopefully get out there and get a series win. We'll break that down in detail. This has been Braves Today for Thursday, April 17th. You're listening on audio. Do us a favor. Leave us a 5-star review. Some words of affirmation in there. Apple, Spotify, whatever Google uses nowadays. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when we drop tomorrow's episode. And maybe also a subscription to BravesToday.com. Until next time, this has been Braves Today.